Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. This is our Uptiq's live demo session for today as we approach the end of July. So we're thrilled to have everyone. My name's Jay Richardson. I'm the GM for Equipment Finance and Non-Bank here at Uptiq. And I'm joined today by Lauren Brown, our Senior Solutions Engineer. She'll be walking you guys through our solution today as we transition into the demo. So she will really be the star of the show as we transition today. Today is about one thing. Watching a real commercial deal travel from a borrower's first application all the way to a credit decision without stopping. Not intake in solution or in isolation, not underwriting in isolation, the whole chain connected. I'll set context for about 5 minutes or so. I'm not a big slide guy, but I think the context is important. And then the rest of our time will be live inside of the solution that Lauren will lead us through. Drop questions in the Q&A as we go. I'll take the quick ones live and hold the deeper ones for the end. Transition. Let's start. Let's go ahead and start making the transition over into the real meat of today's slideshow. Again, I won't spend a ton of time here, but the context is important. If you run commercial lending, you cannot underwrite faster than you can assemble a complete file. And assembling that file is slow. The typical intake to decision cycle runs 3 to 6 weeks, and most of that isn't credit judgment, it's the paper chase, which leads to round after round of borrower follow-up. Every missing bank statement is another call, another email, another few days of the deal sitting still. You guys know this process. The borrowers with options go where the process is faster. We hear this all the time. The reason I went to another institution was not because I didn't like the people, I didn't think it was a good product, but time, and time is always of the essence. And here's the part that most institutions don't measure. More than 30% of underwriter time is spent on work that isn't underwriting at all. Chasing documents, rekeying data, rebuilding spreads from files that intake already collected once. The last point is the one to hold on to. The problem isn't that the intake is slow or that underwriting is slow. It's that the two are disconnected and the work gets done twice. So here's how we've approached it. Three agents, and the important word on this slide is connected. The intake agent handles the front end, guided application intake, which you'll see, document AI, KYC and KYB pre-screening, and a self-service borrower portal. Its output is a complete verified deal record. The financial spreading agent picks the record up, extraction into the standardization, spreads, ratios computed, policy alerts firing. Its output is analyzed financials. The credit memo agent takes those spreads plus the documents plus third-party data and synthesizes a decision-ready memo and scorecard with policy exceptions flagged. Now the line at the bottom, and this is the whole webinar in one sentence. The output of each agent is the input to the next. Nothing gets re-entered, re-uploaded, or re-asked. The borrower is never asked twice for the same tax return. One more thing to hold on to. This sits over your existing core, LOS, and CRM. Nothing to migrate, no rip and replace to adopt an agent. Very important, something we get asked all the time. Let's look at each half starting with intake. The intake agent replaces the entire front end paper chase. Guided application intake, it shows the right fields for the right product, enforces required answers, and blocks incomplete submissions. Incomplete files simply can't enter your pipeline. Document AI files come in as PDFs, images, whatever the borrower has. We see this all the time. The agent classifies them and extracts the data, and every extracted field traces back to its source document. Your auditors will care about that, as you know, and we'll show that live. KYC and KYB pre-screening. Ownership structure and watch list get checked before a human even touches the file. Only eligible applications advance. And a self-service portal. Your team shares a secure link. The borrower completes the guided flow on their own time, e-signs, and the submission lands directly in your pipeline. Worth noting, loan types run their own workflow, not one form with fields toggled on and off. A CRE deal, for example, turns on the property, so CRE swaps in a property information step where a term loan asks about owners. That's the front end. Here's what happens next. And this is the part most demos skip. Underwriting. This is the half that's usually a separate product, a separate vendor, and a separate week of work. Financial spreading, tax returns, financial statements, bank statements become a standardized spread. And I want to be precise here. These are the same documents from intake. Nobody re-uploads them, nobody rekeys them. The extraction already happened. Ratio and policy checks, ratios compute automatically, and your credit policy is applied to every deal, with exceptions surfaced rather than buried in a footnote someone has to find. Credit memo generation spreads documents and third-party data synthesized into a memo and scorecard in your own institution. And a risk rating and recommendation grounded in the analysis. Be clear on this one because it's the first question people ask. The agent drafts. Your credit committee approves. The agent never approves alone. Here's the whole thing as a single flow. All right, 4 stops today. Once a new application from scratch, guided intake for a commercial deal, validated as the borrower types, so errors get caught at the field instead of surfacing 3 weeks later in underwriting. 2, documents in. We'll feed the agent tax returns, financial statements, and bank statements and watch it classify and extract with lineage back to the source page. KYC and KYB run automatically here, and ineligible deals stop. 3, spreading and analysis. This is the moment to watch. The same documents from stop 2 become a standardized spread. Nobody re-uploaded anything. Ratios compute, policy exceptions flag. 4th and final step, credit memo and decision. People and scorecard drafted, risk rating and recommendations surfaced, and a complete audit trail from the first touch through the decision. If you lose track of where we are during the demo, it's one of these 4. One more slide, promise the last one, and then Lauren will take us live. I'm struggling with this deck today. Apologies. All right, last slide. Here's what institution actually get. These are aggregated results from our own customers. Deal cycle times goes up from weeks to days because the manual paper chase is gone and the handoff in the middle is gone with it. 41% faster underwriting with spreading and memo prep automated rather than manual. 63% less time preparing credit memos. A few more worth noting. 36% less time spent spreading and extracting, 95% plus extraction accuracy, and 3x deals per analyst. And this is not a year-long transformation program. Deployment runs 5 to 30 days with 100 plus integrations to your existing core LOS and CRM available. More than 150 financial institutions already trust Uptiq today. So without further ado, that's the setup. As you guys saw, this is live, so there was definitely some struggles on my end of going through the slides, but I hope that set the stage, gave good context. Now I'm actually going to transition over to Lauren and allow you guys to see it live. Thanks, everyone. I'll be here for questions.
Perfect. Thanks, Jay. Well, now let's see the solution in process. All right. So we're going to start, just as Jay mentioned, from, really honing in on 4 different agents today, and really giving you that roundabout vision of how we can really take your application, your document intake, your underwriting, and then even your credit memo generation from 0 to hero. So first, with that application intake process, of course, we have from both the lender view and the borrower view where we can easily pull in, extract information very easily, simply, with just a few clicks. So several different perspectives here. I can come in, select new application. I can either upload an application or fill it out online. Here's where I can then be greeted with the screen of the products that we're offering. Of course, all configurable to your financial institution. I'll select commercial mortgage for today. And then this is where the agent is going to start to come to fruition. So we'll go ahead, upload that application. We can watch it happen live, where it's truly going to not only take all the information, extract the information from the application live, but it's going to validate, verify, and even call out to verified information such as the business and the individuals that are involved. So really taking all of those moving pieces and putting them into one simple process here within this one agent. Now, we're also taking all of the information and letting it know exactly where it's going next, what type of loan this is. We don't want to collect documents for an LLC if it's going to be a sole prop. So, really taking the guesswork out of the paper chasing side of things and really understanding what comes next within the process. So once the form has completely uploaded and updated, it's going to actually fill out the application on the lender's behalf. So really saving time of having to key in each one of those individual line items. Now, as you can see, you're also still going to have that human in the loop intervention. So I have the ability to come in, make any changes, edits, updates, any information that wasn't available on the documents. I can easily come in and be able to go ahead and enter in those information. Now, I can also add any additional documents here. So let's say we didn't have an application, we had some tax returns, we had some personal financial statements. I can easily drop and upload those here and have the agent initiate and associate those documents with the application as well. Now, from start to finish, this is, essentially seconds to get all the information in and then send it over to the lender. So next, what we're going to see is kind of the next steps when we talk about where the application goes from here. And so now we're going to pivot over and give you an idea of how that looks. So once the application is ready, here's where I can easily pull that information in. You can see all the information that was extracted, all of my borrowers, my guarantors, all of the information that we collected from the uploaded documents. Now, up next, we can come over to those documents and easily understand what was happening and how that information was happening across the board. So here's all of the different documents. I can be able to easily come in and see what information was collected, what information we may need to take a look at, and where we need to go from here. So we're classifying, we're validating, we're verifying each one of those individual documents, really streamlining the process and saving time across the board for your individual lenders. Up next, once we have all of that information ready to go, we're ready for the underwriting process. So what are we going to do with all of these specifications and all of the different information? We're going to pull in from a spreading standpoint so we can fully support all of the information readily available for everyone to be able to see. So we'll come over to the document analysis for the financial analysis side of things. Now here you'll see we have some different documents here. We've got some financial statements. We have some tax returns. We also have some personal financial statements that we've collected. It's going to extract the information, visually pull that information in, extract those fields. You'll see where it's working live within the agent. So it is happening live in real time. It's going to take not only the information that we've collected throughout the process and be able to easily display it for me to come in, make edits, changes, updates. We can actually pull over the actual document and have a side-by-side view to understand, validate, and verify, kind of side-by-side comparison. So making it easy for, again, human intervention when needed. And then, of course, be able to finalize all of that financial analysis and review with property reviews, underwriting reviews, and even some things up from projections and stress protection. So everything all in one easy, streamlined process here, quick and easy for your lenders and or your borrowers. Now, to round out the presentation, of course, we have the ability to generate that credit memo. So create that credit write-up. We'll easily be able to incorporate any information that's needed across the board that you deem necessary as part of your credit write-up. It's reading and writing and extracting the information that we already have. So again, creating a quick, easy, frictionless process for your users to be able to come in and easily generate these credit memorandums on the fly. Now, all the information that you're seeing here, I can come in, I can change, edit, update, remove any information on the fly. So making it case by case scenario, hands-on experience, very easy and really easy to bring to fruition. I can also be able to easily identify any missing information. So no more having to search for any additional information or any missing information or regenerate the credit memo. All of that is going to be readily available and easily expressed here within the credit write-up. Now, to round things out, we have the ability to export this in any way or fashion to go ahead and expedite this process to get this over the line and to get this to a closed booked loan for your institution. So thank you guys so much for allowing me to walk you through the different agents today. Happy to now answer any questions that you guys have for Jay and I.
Hey, Lauren, thank you very much. We had some really good questions come in. We'll see if we can get through at least three or four of them. So let me know if you want to take them, or I'm happy to as well. So we've got John
Absolutely.
out of Minnesota asks, does the AI make the credit decision? Do you want to take that one, or I'm happy to?
I'll let you take that one.
All right, happy to. So, John, great question. No, the AI does not make the decision. It assembles, analyzes, drafts, and recommends. But ultimately, as Lauren kind of touched on, the approval stays with your committee, the human in the loop aspect, and then every recommendation is source linked and explainable from an audit perspective. So, great question. Next question. Teresa out of California says, how accurate is spreading on a messy tax return and hand-built financials? So phenomenal question. As we all see messes that get sent in from our customers or borrowers or even brokers. Lauren, you want to take that one, or would you like me to as
Yeah.
well?
Yeah, absolutely. So in our demonstration, I actually purposely uploaded a tax return so you could kind of see what happens when that kind of extraction might have a little bit of a mishap with it. So you'll be able to easily see and understand what information is missing, and you can either re-extract, reconfirm, revalidate, and re-verify on the fly. And then, of course, we have that human intervention that you have the ability to come in, make changes and edits on the fly as well. So, very easy for those kind of one off scenarios to easily account for those as part of the process.
Awesome. Thanks, Lauren. Ashley
Yeah,
down in Florida says, can the memo match our template and credit committee format?
yes,
You want
absolutely.
easy answer on that one. That's
Easy answer
exactly.
there.
Yeah. I love it. And fourth and final for today's time, I'll take this one. Question is, how does this fit existing LOS and core? So I know I went through a lot of slides and I was bouncing all over, but they address this in the slide deck. So our solution or platform, it sits over them. So it sits over your LOS, your core system, CRMs. We have over 100, actually, I think it's approaching 150 kind of pre-built integrations at this point. And our deployment is fast, right? This is one of the differentiators in the market. We get asked this all the time. I think we're starting to put out, 5 to 30 days. That's probably aggressive in some cases, unless you're literally, trying to drop something in really quick, but it's fast, right? And we really try to pull that down. And as I mentioned before, it's no rip and replace. No rip and replace in, your existing systems. And I just saw another question pop up. And since I'm a huge sports guy, I got to take this one. What chance do you give the Vikings of winning the Super Bowl this year? I love it. See, this is how real this is. I don't give them a chance at all. It's nice that they got a new quarterback up there, but yeah, I would put 0 to 1%. Would not put my money on the Vikings this year. Anyway, I love it. Love the question. So that's all the questions we have time for today. We try to keep these pretty quick and informative and valuable. So thank you again, Lauren. Thank you so much for walking us through the solution here at Uptiq, and thank you all for joining. If you would like to see the agents against your own credit policy and your own documents, book a discovery call at uptick.ai, and we'll set up a working session. Thanks, everyone.